most of my work is as a war correspondent. It's very depressing, a lot of what I see. And so I'm keep doing it and inspired to do it, because in the middle of some of these quite desperate situations you find amazing people, and often, I don't know whether it's because I'm a woman, but they often seem to be female. And I would say that two of the most inspiring women or girls that I've ever met were Malaala, who I was lucky enough to work with a few years ago on her book I Am Malaala, and who has fought for education for girls and boys and risked her life to fight for that. And she is not only very inspirational, but she's also a very warm and funny human being. So it's very nice to see her both sides. And then the other person that I've worked with most recently is Nojeen, who is a Syrian refugee who's crossed from Aleppo to Germany in a wheelchair. And I was absolutely astonished, because I was covering the refugee crisis. It's very difficult to be a refugee, to make that journey. It's hard, it's tiring, you're at the mercy of people smugglers. There are countries trying to stop you getting in, people robbing refugees. There's all sorts of hazards, and to do that as an able-bodied person is very difficult. So to do that in a wheelchair with just your sister pushing, I thought was astonishing. And the amazing thing about Nojeen is she did all that with a sort of great smile on her face, that she was very happy to get to Germany, but she was just so interested in everything that she saw along the way. Europe should be ashamed of itself over the refugee crisis. Countries responded by closing their doors to people, and it was interesting because you saw the best and worst of humanity. You saw people who had nothing helping refugees, but you saw governments and police forces closing the borders and responding quite brutally to refugees. And at times I felt ashamed to be a European. Benazir Bhutto was actually had a huge influence on my career, because she was the first person that I interviewed that was a national leader or a leading politician. She was leader of the opposition at the time, and she was in exile in London. And she then went back to Pakistan and later invited me to her wedding, which is my first experience of Pakistan. Often the books I write, I am in the books, like I talk about, my reaction. I don't necessarily want to do that, because I prefer telling stories through people. But the book I did about the wars in Afghanistan, Farewell Kabul, to be honest, I was looking for a long while, trying to find a person that I could tell that whole story through. And in the end, I realized actually I'm the person that's been there, seeing all this. Everything in that book is firsthand, is something I thought, and it was better to sort of tell the book through my own experiences, because I actually saw it. It's not me talking to someone else and them telling me this happened and I don't actually know.